Hello! We'll start by going over our supplies. This is an acrylic project, so I am using a stretched canvas. Stretch just means that it's got some kind of wood in there and then the canvas is stretched over the wood. This is gallery edge, so that's why it's a little bit thicker. One of our block options. I like them because they can stand up on their own. This is a mini, it's a 4x4 square. And I've got paintbrushes. I just grabbed my basic set. I use these for almost every painting. This is a bristlier one, a little bit larger, great for backgrounds. And then 2 of the flats or squares. And then a brush for details, okay? For my paint, I'm using my primary colors that I typically use when I'm painting. I like Golden Brand. I like basic Liquitex is also good. So what we've got here, we are using green. I've got 2 kinds of green because I want to make a dark green and a light green. And then I've got the white to make it even lighter. And yellow and blue make green. So one just has more yellow than the other. Here I've got this red that's got a pink tone to it. So when I add white, we'll have a nice pink background. I may add a little blue to it to make it more of a purple background like we did here in my model. And then I've got brown for the pot and the dirt. And I've also got a pink pen here. Just a pink Sharpie. You could use a black Sharpie, any color you really want, because this painting is quite witty and it's called Don't Be a Prick. And we'll just maybe write that. You don't have to do that. That's optional because I'm so funny. But you can skip it and just paint a cactus, okay? So we'll get started on our background. Of course, I've got some water here to wash my brushes, and I've got a rag or a paper towel to dab my brush because after you rinse, you want to control how much water that you use. So I'm going to take a little bit of this pink, maybe a dash, sneak into the blue and not touch any of the yellow, and then dip some of the white and then go to town. And be like, ooh, that's not enough white because I do want this to be a bit lighter. And I'm just going to go all over here and paint the entire thing, including the sides. I hope you've got your blow dryer ready. We can dry the sides. Grab a pencil. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. Let's draw a basic outline for our shapes here. Whenever you're drawing, I want you to look at what are the basic shapes that you see. So this is, the pot is roughly a square. It's just a little bit tapered more towards the bottom, meaning it's thinner on the top than on the bottom. I mean, thinner on the bottom, rather. Then we've got a rectangle. That would be the top of the pot, the lip. And then these shapes for the cactuses, and we've got 4 here. You could do 3, 5, 6. If you're using a bigger canvas, you can squeeze as many as you want. I just like mini paintings, and they take up less space. So it's a great option. We're gonna start with the big one in the middle, and then just add on your little babies there. So my canvas is dry. I blow dried it, so make sure that you're dry because you can't draw on wet. I'm going to start with the rectangle that represents the pot, the lid, or the lip of the pot there. And then it's a square, so instead of drawing a straight down square, you'll draw a tapered square, so a diagonal, roughly a diagonal line on each side. If you mess up, it's okay. Just draw another line there. The paint will cover it anyway. Sometimes it's a little awkward drawing on canvas, so you don't have to be perfect because, like I said, the paint will cover it. All right, sounds good? All right, then we're going to do the big canvas, the big cactus first. And remember, you can change it up. Yours doesn't have to look like mine. You may want to do more round ones. So that's totally up to you. You want to take, you know, some creative liberties. I'm going to just draw a round canvas. And again, it's kind of tapered too. I don't know, is this like a prickly pear? Is that what it is? I don't know. My mom had some canvases in her yard. I think they were prickly pears. So it's thinner on the top than it is there. I'm going to do like an offshoot here. And then maybe like one up here. There. And then we'll go ahead and do one here. Okay, just tweaking it a little bit. I erased the line that had gone over the pot. I want it inside the pot more, so I'm just making this one a little thinner so it goes inside the pot there. And yeah, that works. So we'll go ahead and clean up any lines if you want. Anything you think may be seen with the pencil drawing, but for the most part, we're going to cover any pencil lines with paint. And you don't have to draw. You can actually draw with your paintbrush. You don't have to draw with a pencil first. All right, so let's get started. We'll do our pot first. So I'm going to use our square and a little bit of brown and white here. Some brown, some white mix. And then we'll just go ahead and fill in the larger part of the pot. We're looking for a light brown. We'll want to add some shadow to make a darker area of our pot. But to start, we've got a light brown area. Whoop. Okay. There's a light brown pot there. And you can edit it. You don't have to like stay in your lines. Okay. Okay. I ended up a little more square, but I like it better. Okay. Then I want this top lip to be just a tad darker, so I'm dipping in the brown to put it back into this color so it ends up a little bit darker than what I started with. You could also add some red in there too if you wanted it to look a little more terracotta or orange and brown. You could go that route. So my brush happens to be a square that's almost the size that I drew. So I'm actually going to take advantage of that and just go across. What? Look at that. Isn't that perfect? I'm going to clean up this edge a little bit. Just turn it. Okay, there we go. Oh, that looks too cool. Isn't that perfect? Wow. Okay, washing my brush. I'm going to let that dry. Later on, we're going to put a little shadow. Get a little fancy there. I'm going to make our green. So we've got a lot of yellow, a little bit of yellow. So let's see how that measurement worked out. So first, this should be more of a blue-green, and hence more blue means it'll be a tad darker. Okay, I like that. Let's go ahead and wipe it really good. And then this one, it's got more yellow, so technically it should be more greenish. So it should be a tad lighter, and it is for the most part. Well, at least one is more blue than the other. Let's go ahead and I'm going to show you an amazing trick. It's going to blow your mind. All right, so wipe your brush and then dip a bit in your red, just a tad. And then go into your green over here, this darker one, and mix that in and get it really good. And what happens is that when you add red to green, it becomes darker because they're complementary colors. So this darkened quite a bit, as you can see. So you got to stir it really good. Otherwise, the blue and the red in there just looks purpley. And this is really going to be a dark blue-green. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper so I can show you. So it's a pretty dark green, right? That's cool, because we need that for the shadow, the darker parts. And if you wanted it to be less blue and more greeny, you just add more yellow, right? Okay, so then there's our medium green, and then if we add white to that, we would end up with light green. So we're kind of all set with dark, medium, and the ability to make a light green. So let's wash our brush, and we'll make that light green. Wipe your brush off with your paper towel or your rag. and then dip into your medium green and just find a spot for it. And then grab some of your white, scoop and stir here. And the other little thing I think we may like to do is to add, so we definitely lightened it up, but I love yellow in my light green, so I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 drop of yellow, and let's see where we end up. And you know, these can just be fun colors. You don't have to, you can do a purple cactus for all, if you really wanted, just, you know, but basically what I need is a value of green. That means I need a dark, a light, and a medium. I'm gonna grab a little more white. We're getting nice and light there. I'll wipe it off a little bit. All right, so we've got a good basis for light green, and we can always keep making it. That's good. See a nice comparison there. So you need your 3 colors of green. It's fun to make your own colors. It teaches you a lot about color theory and art, but you can also buy dark, medium, and light green. It's almost a little silly though when you have everything, but I'm definitely gonna tell you that I buy paint just because the color's pretty all the time, even though I know how to make it. So let's start with your medium green and just paint your sections of cactus. Just straight out. You're gonna want to be as neat as you can. I'm still using that same brush, that medium square. Or actually, this is my small square, isn't it? Okay. Okay. There's one. Then I'll do another one. Little offshoot. What are these, like the cactus's babies, right? There we go. Cactus baby 1. Get a little bit more paint and we'll do another cactus baby. Okay, and last one. One thing I would like to point out, I probably should have told you from the beginning, is I really like you to paint round. If you see, I kind of tried to keep things round. If something is round, if the object is round, paint it round. You notice I didn't paint straight necessarily up and down. It's not such a big deal in these little paint, maybe this little one, I don't know. When you paint round, you end up making the object look more round. And I think we kind of need that. Okay, so that looks super cute. Go back in with my dark brown. And I just want a little bit down here, like a little shadow. It's just a little swoosh. Okay, cool. Let's wash that. Later on, we'll put a highlight, I think, on that, on here, on the top of the pot, maybe. Okay, our cactus is a little wet still, so let's dry it a tad. Now, let's go over everywhere we think that the shadowy part may be. We don't need too much paint. It's a very small painting, so I just have some of my dark green on the brush. Shadows are gonna be, let's assume that the light is coming in from this way. Whenever you're trying to create 3 dimensions or a light and dark shadow, you'll want to think about if the light is on the right side, the shadows are on the left, and vice versa. Also, down at the bottom, you may have more shadows. If something is covering something else, you may have more shadows. That's why we put this line of shadow underneath the lip, because we wanted to make the 3D look of that top of the pot coming out. So let's take this little bit of dark brown, go to the bottom base of our cactus and just offer a little bit of shadow going up. See? Same thing onto all the babies. Just a little bit of dark at the base of each outshoot, each cactus itself. Really going to be cool right here when you see this dark next to that. Okay. So that's that. So I just did a little at the bottom. No big deal. Let's go ahead and wash your brush. Wipe it off on your paper towel. Okay, let's add a little bit of line work. So I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to switch to a different brush. I showed you in the beginning. I just feel like my hairs are getting a little splayed out. I don't like that look. So I just wanted to grab a pointer one. You'll be fine if you just, something you can get your detailed with. We're going to be doing the squiggly line work with our light green. That's all. So I'm just drawing. Oops, dropping stuff over here. Okay, grab a little bit of your light green and I'm just going to do some straight lines coming down just with the tip. If you'll notice, I'm 90 degrees because I want that tip of the brush to be used nicely. So I'm going with the paint and a little bit here and there. How many lines you add is up to you. Stay within each individual there. So there's all the lines for the main one. Then when you go to do the lines for the next one, it would be in the direction of that one. So all these lines will go diagonal-ish up this. Oh, look, see, that was too thick. So let's go ahead and take care of that. I'm washing my brush real quick. I'm just gonna wash it off and then grab my paper towel here and wipe up that. That was a good little lesson in there to see it's okay if you make a mistake when it's still very wet. If it were to dry, then you would need to paint over it. So that's good. Hey, another great tip is baby wipes are great for wiping off those little uh-ohs. But then you just have to wait. You have to make sure it's dry when you go back in with your paint. So, okay, let's try this again. Just the tip of my brush. A nice thing to do is to take your pinky and put it on your canvas to help stabilize you. See, I just want a very thin line. Thin lines there. And I think just 3 is going to be enough on that. Oh my gosh, isn't this cute? Oh, goodness. Let's do this on this side. Let's see how many we need. I'm thinking 3 may be good here too. 1, 2, maybe even 4. This guy's a little fatter. So there's that. Is anybody else thinking of watermelon? Ooh, we should do a watermelon project. Oh, idea. Same thing, lines in the direction of that offshoot. 3 is good for that one. Okay. So let's wash it. I'm going into my dark now. Green, same thing with my detail brush. And just do a couple of lines down at the bottom, just right next to my light lines, going up. Going up. I'm not even going to go all the way to the top. Just kind of like let it fade off. And you do that by starting at the bottom and going up and then slowly lifting your brush until the brush is no longer touching. See? Right, these lines are just like the lines you did for your light brush. You're just like taking them up right next to it. You remember when you did light green, we did lines. Now we're just doing dark lines. And same thing here, just a little bit of dark line work going up next to your light lines. You know what, right here on this bottom half, you could go a little bit, I'm gonna add a little extra dark going up near the top because I'm saying all my light is right here. So it would be darker down here because this cactus is blocking the light right here. So I like that. Same thing over here. And with these two so close, this area, these 3 touching, it would be very dark in that little nook as well. So I'm gonna turn around so it's easier and get really dark in this nook. Okay, and on the other one, You can see those little shadow areas. I also want to make sure I've got a good amount of shadow running on the bottom of this whole unit, these 1, 2, 3. So I'll come in, just add shadow there. Okay, sound good. I like it. How about a little extra right here? Anywhere, you think about, if you're looking at this cactus, where are the crevices? If I'm saying the sun is right here and we've got all this opportunity for crevice, let's get in there. I'm turning it upside down, why not? And get in there and make the crevice shadow area a little bit more. Ooh, look at that. That's super cool. Maybe even right here. Between these two, we could just add a little extra. All right, we're gonna leave that right where it is. And now, if we have dark, then we need light, right? Okay, so let's wash your brush, dry it. And I think I want this green to be even lighter. So I'm grabbing more white and even pull it off to the side. And then just make some more light. And gonna add some highlights, just a little smush on the side here, smush like on the top here, coming around this side, right there. Even right here on this top, little light smush. So it's just 3 swooshes there. I want to do one on the pot, but I don't want it to be green, so I'm gonna wash in white. Okay, for the highlight on the pot, I've just got a little light brown, just coming in right midway toward the right side, just a little flick of the wrist, just swoosh. Just saying there's a little glare there. I'm gonna wipe that out. While we're in the brown, you have an option to add dirt. I did add a little bit of dirt on this one, so if you want to do that, oh goodness, you would just take the tip of just the brown, very little, and just go right a little line of brown taps. And it doesn't have to be everywhere, just little dots where dirt might be showing. Just that. Okay. Wash your brush and let's get your white going so that we can do if you want, you have 2 different styles here that you have as an option. So if you want to take a little bit of white and maybe even a dash of water. So I just dipped this in water so that my white was a little more thinner, a little thinner. And here you can see we did the needle style quills, and that's just 2 little flicks. See, just the very tip, like that. You can do that style that we have here in this one, or you can do tiny dots with the back of your brush, or if you happen to have a stylus, like for anything that has a tiny little ball on the end of it, like see this here, this would be good. So if you take it in your white paint, and then you would just go down those light colored lines that we made on this one. So just a couple of dot, 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 and then you dip again. Dot, don't, dot. And remember, you can use the back of your paintbrush too. You just don't want to dip too much paint in there. You want to keep the paint, or you can even use the tip of your brush. It's just using the objects is helpful. See, same thing there. Just really have to control the amount of paint that you use. Yeah, that dot was a little bit bigger. And you start to run out of paint as you move down. So think about that. You know, when you re-dip in for paint, you end up making a larger dot. But, so I need to go over that one again. Okay, so keep it on. And you can totally, if you like the pin prick, these are the prick, the little pin prick, don't be a prick, the little pen print one, what are these? These little dot ones, which I thought it was just nice because I have 2 paintings to do 2 different ways, and you guys can have the option to do either one. you're just gonna wanna do the tiny little, if you decide to do the little quills, then you'll want to make sure that you're going in a 90 degrees with that paintbrush. See, holding it up like that if you're doing the other version. And you don't want to overdo it. Just, you know, kind of how many ever you might need. But it'll depend on how big. Maybe you decided to use a bigger canvas than mine. I want to see it. Make sure that you post it, you send it to me. I'll just finish those up. Dude, I kind of like that they're different sizes here and there. Oh my gosh, that pop of white is just adorable. Okay, so just to review, if you wanted to go with this one, we did a little bit of water and a little bit of white, and it's just the very tip of your brush. And it's the 90 degrees and a very light touch. You're barely touching the canvas, and you just flick out, flick out, flick out. Can you see that? Yeah. Maybe we'll do one over here. A little bit of white. It's already got some water in it. Very little paint. The pinky really helps control what's going on. So out, out, out. See? Very light touch on that, okay? If you press too much, you end up with a fat quill type situation. And if you did the ladybug painting with me, or if you've ever painted grass with me, then I've talked about light touch with the tip versus very hard push. See, if you push hard, you get a fatter paintbrush and you end up with a fatter line. Whereas if you do just the end of the brush, you end up with a thinner line. But either version, you know, each cactus, there are multiple kinds of cactus, so that totally works. All right, we're gonna get ready to do our optional words. You could decide that you're done if you wanted to, but you've got a couple other options. So let's blow dry. Hello. I'm going to review how to add the dot letters to your painting. For the model, we had Don't Be a Prick. Another option is Can't Touch This. You'll just need to decide where you want to write it on your canvas. You could also decide that you're not going to add the words. It's up to you. If you do want to, this is how you do dot letters. You'll need a Sharpie or a permanent fine-tipped pen. And I'll demonstrate Can't Touch This. You're writing in print, and you're just starting with a dot and ending with a dot. So, and they can be kind of quirky and fun. It's totally fine to go a little uneven. You can see there, I started the C, the end of the A, top and bottom of the line rather. Then an N would be the same thing. And then an end at the hump. T. And the H, just a tall version of an N. And Can't Touch This. So you're welcome to add that, any word that you wanted to. It's just a fun, quirky way to write letters, a little less stressful than trying to perfect your handwriting. So thanks for joining the class. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.